Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, where every week we're interviewing small business guests that support small businesses, because that's what we are all about today. And today we have found the guy that actually helps drive traffic and convert that traffic into leads so you know who you're talking to during the sales process. All that magic that happens behind the scenes of the websites that you don't see, but you know it works. We found somebody that actually can help us understand that a little bit more. And today we've got Kevin Howe, founder at 329, who's going to discuss it. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Nice to be here.
Kevin, give us a quick introduction to your business and what you've been doing, and maybe touch a little bit about how long you've been in the business, because you've been doing it for a while.
I've been in the agency world for about 25 years. I was like 19 when I started interning and working in this world. So I founded my own agency 15 years ago, and we've been focusing on web development and digital marketing ever since. So we've kind of seen it all at this point.
What's I let a little bit of it in the intro, but what's the specialty that you guys are really focused on in digital marketing?
Yeah, so we kind of look at it at two sides. One is we help companies acquire personally identifiable information through lead gen. And then we do a lot with content strategy, and we help companies understand that you need to talk about what you're doing for a customer in order to improve those leads. And then we provide an added layer of information in the lead gen process so they can perform better sales process.
Excellent. When you were, 15 years ago, this was new tech. Like, this was new things that are going. How, talk a little bit about what inspired you to decide to go down this road on your own agency and get to the point where you're at today.
Yeah, well, it was just honestly from working with a lot of clients that didn't really know what was going on the analytics side. And so they get a lead in, and a lot of our clients are B2B, and they have a longer sales cycle. So they're not coming in. It's not like they're just buying a $20 widget online. And so this lead comes in, and they have no idea really what somebody's looking for, where they've been on the site, any information. And, there's technology out there, but especially in the small business world, they don't know it exists, and they don't know how to implement it. And so we just kind of started piloting it with a few clients and slowly grew it so that we now have custom plugins and things that will apply to a client's site to help them understand what's happening, what a lead was doing before they submitted their contact information. And then they can make a more intelligent, like when they reach out, they can be smarter about what they ask for. They can change what they're offering, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, so from a sales perspective, it helps understand and reduce the objections. It helps reduce time on the phone because you're not having to ask all these additional questions. It's great input and insight to it. 15 years is no short feat in the entrepreneurial space, right? Especially with one company and through the transitions that we've seen digital marketing go through, especially here in the last few years. What has been your proudest moment as an entrepreneur so far?
Oh man. Probably right now, I actually just completed a merger with another agency, and that was a big undertaking. Our teams came together really well, and what we can offer into the market is now better. On a client side, I think our biggest win is I have clients that have been with me for 15 years. And they've seen us through the agency as it's grown, as new services has come in. And they really trusted us to help, build their exposure online, help drive traffic, help build new sites, all that sort of stuff. We're redesigning sites that our team designed a decade ago for the same clients.
Yeah, that's amazing that you get to have really sticky customers through that. I want to talk a little bit about that acquisition or merger that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
When you were getting close to, I guess, let's dive in a little bit down that rabbit hole of what inspired you to decide to go through with a merger.
Yeah. I think I'm a bit of a masochist, but realistically, we had really complementary businesses. We were in the same city, and I've been trying to build out more of the like digital marketing side of the web development agency that 329 used to be. And on the same side, this other agency didn't do web as well as we did. And so we fit together really well. And, I've been doing it myself for so long that having a partner sounded really nice, and having, somebody else that can help grow the business and help us, do everything we need to do. I don't know, it just sounded really good on my side. And so this other agency I was introduced to, he's my business partner, Josh, and it just fit and it worked really well. We were bringing in different clients that we wouldn't have been able to bring in before the merger. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it took us probably 6 months of back office work. And then we soft launched it. And then January, we converted all our systems. And so moving all your billing and your everything from, 2 companies into one, it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, I've done multiple mergers and acquisitions myself, and sales. I've been on both ends of the spectrum, and totally. You commented about being a masochist inside of there. It's for those that get approached or those that start the conversation. Remember that takes time, and that's the listeners out there that are listening to this. Is it will always take you 3 to 10 times as long to do. Probably cost you 3x as much as you thought it was going to cost. On the back end, back office, like legal fees and everything else.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your business is set up right before going through the process, because if you don't have all of your stuff right, and then you add this other complexity to it, all you did was make it even more complex, even more complicated, and even more challenging. So it sounds like even though you went through the hard stuff, which is always there, you've learned, you're complementing each other's businesses, and it looked like it's going to be a big, great partnership going forward.
Yeah, I think so. And you're right. I was like, oh, we'll have this wired in like a month or two. And it's, we're 9 months into it, and there's still the systems are not what they need to be. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, that is a big deal, and it takes focused driving effort, and that's what a lot of business owners find it's a distraction, because their business is distracting every day. So they decide, well, for whatever reason, I want to have another distraction in my life, and it comes into that we're going to add that other distraction. Now you've got all of it, and focused effort on the acquisition, getting it done. The sooner you get it done, the better. And, but no matter what, it will take time. If you've ever opened your laptop ready to grow your business, and 2 hours later closed it, realizing you've gotten nothing done, but you've researched office chairs, you've ordered lunch, and you've planned out the next 3 dinners, all the things that you wouldn't typically do to work on your business. Yeah, I've done that too. I'm Jason Pond. I'm the host of the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, and I want you to achieve your breakthrough. But we do that through the community I built. I built the Momentum Community. The Momentum Community is a place where we meet every week. We talk about your goals, where you want to get with your business, and then we track them. And we use the Momentum dashboard to do that. We make sure you're moving forward every week, and it's accountability like you've never seen in a community forum. I want you to be part of that community. If you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description below and enjoy the rest of the episode. So you've grown a business over the last 15 years. You've merged with another company that's brought in a layer of experiences. It's brought in a layer of challenges. What would you say has been the greatest success out of all of this stuff that entrepreneurship has brought you?
That's a great question. I think for me, what entrepreneurship has brought to me is control into my life. Like entrepreneurship, I think we all work a lot. We all are consumed by our businesses. But I have a level of control and a level of direction that I can apply to me that's really important and really valuable. And I'm able to it's not just like everyone, if it's like, oh, you're taking time off. It's like, it's not about time off. It's about, I can make decisions on where the business goes and what we're going to focus on and what we're going to do. And that to me is really valuable, right? I don't want to just like sit in the back seat and just kind of see where things are going. I want to help drive where we're going. And entrepreneurship, from my experience, is the only way I've been able to do that. I mean, I worked at agencies before I started my own, and you're just kind of along for the ride. And I like, driving the car, for lack of a better word.
It gives you that control and that the ability to set your day up the way you want to set your day up. And as long as you're serving the client, things are going well.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest thing in your business, especially since you've created this merger? What's the biggest thing that differentiates you and your business from all of the competitors? The digital marketing agency space is very populated, and those that are surrounded by it feel like it's crowded. It technically isn't, but from the aspect of feeling like it's crowded, it's busy, there's a ton of them. What differentiates your business from others?
Yeah, we're actually just been going through this because there's a lower barrier to entry, right? You need a laptop and you can like start spinning out digital marketing campaigns for people. For us, a differentiator is where we started, which is it's lead gen with personally identifiable information. And the second side of it is content strategy. So your typical agency, let's say you come to them for a site redesign. In the industry right now, a lot of it is like, let's do a theme and move your current content over to your new site so it looks prettier. And the issue is that generally doesn't solve the problem because everyone just talks about what they do and the customer doesn't really care what you do, right? They want to know what you're going to do for them. And so you have to come into it with content strategy. And so we lead with that, which most design, development, and marketing agencies don't do. There are companies that just do like the content strategy or just do, say, brand messaging and things, but we'll take those and then layer them through the marketing and the web, which most, especially if you're working with small businesses, most don't, right? If you take like an HVAC company, they know how to say, we repair air conditioners or we service this, but they don't know how to talk about it in a way that resonates with the customer about what that customer is going to get. And everyone can say we service HVAC units, right? But what you bring to the table is different. And we pull that out from clients and then apply that across their marketing.
That is so important. Listeners out there, if you're paying attention to this, that aspect of the business and helping customers understand your business and what you do for them is what will differentiate your business from others. And Kevin is helping do that with his for sure. What would you 15 years, as we've talked about that, it's a grind. You talked about the merger and maybe that qualifies in this next question, but what's a recent project or initiative that has like told you this is where you need to be? It's brought you that amazing energy that says, I know I want to keep doing this for the next 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah, there's probably two. I know you asked for one, but I'm gonna give you two. So one is the company is based out of Sacramento, California, and we landed a contract with the Greater Sacramento Economic Council. So they drive innovation and growth, right? They help bring in like big manufacturing companies and things like this. And that site will go live for 2 more months, but it is probably one of the best sites we've done in 5 years. From a search engine optimization standpoint, the technology, the quality of the design, everything. And that was one where when we presented to the client, it was that you get a little bit of that fire and you're like, I love this. Like, this is the part that I just really, really love. And then we launched a site for a client in the legal space last month. And in 2 weeks, we doubled their traffic and landed them 2 large cases that they otherwise wouldn't have had. And it's just by doing the search engine optimization, we elevated the brand and all this stuff. But you see those things happen and it's really exciting because what we do is a service to other clients, to other companies, right? And if we don't do a good job and they've spent money with us and their sites aren't improving, things like this, it's not a great feeling on the end, right? And there's a lot of people that come out of working with digital marketing agencies and they have a really bad taste in their mouth. And for me to see these things come through that are really positive, where we do really good design, we're representing the area where the agency exists in a high level, like that stuff's all really good. And it goes beyond just like closing the sale and growing the business. It's like we're making an impact to other companies. We're making an impact to the area where our company is. And that's important to me.
Excellent. That's and two great stories on how working with the right agency, working with the right people, it will help drive the traffic, help bring your site, your business to life. And it's just that synergistic element to the being a business owner and working with amazing clients. Um, in the last 15 years, the industry has changed substantially. You've seen various elements from web to mobile to social to all sorts of different changes. Where do you see the industry evolving to, and how are you addressing it inside of your business?
Yeah. So obviously AI is, coming for the industry. The way I describe what I see in the industry is the middle is falling out, if not gone. And the way I describe that is part of it is like average project size that we used to have. Um, it used to kind of be this like say bell curve. The majority of the jobs were in the middle of the budgets, right? And it's flipped. It's like this, it's almost like a reverse or an inverse bell curve where you have a lot of projects and a lot of companies that don't really invest and don't have a lot of money. And the middle is gone. And then you have the other side, which are the larger projects and the more complex stuff where they do need more investment. And what I'm seeing is as that middle spreads out, the things that are getting eaten into it are AI. They are tools where it's like anybody can run ads. And the way that we're addressing it is twofold. One, we're going up market because our services tend to perform better when there's a little bit more budget. But then on the lower side, we're building tools that we can provide, say, a small business. It'll provide them like this personally identifiable information, like we talked about, right? So we're finding ways to bring higher end services to a lower end market. And they may not be as large of a project, but we can give them something that they can't get elsewhere. Um, it's really interesting because it's been happening for years and it was accelerated in probably the last three.
Absolutely. You brought up a point inside of that answer where I wanted to dive into. You talked about the inverse bell curve. You talked about people that are not willing to invest. What would you say to those having owned a digital marketing agency for as long as you have? What would you say to those people that are hesitant to invest into marketing?
That I understand. um, and that really what you need to do is find the right partner who can understand your niche and what you're trying to do, and then hold that partner accountable. And we do see a lot where we'll go in and audit a, search engine optimization account, or we'll audit a paid search account and nothing's being done to it, right? They're not tracking conversions correctly. They're not spending budget correctly and the clients don't know. And so you got to ask a lot of questions and then you have to know what your expectation is for the campaign, right? So if you're expecting 10 leads a week and you're getting 3, then you need to be on that agency to understand like what's going on. Why am I not getting them? And what I see is, especially in the small business world, their response is kind of like, I don't understand it. And I don't really understand when the agency talks to me. And if you're getting that, like that's a red flag and you should stop them and you should ask those questions, right? You need to be proactive with what you want to get out of your campaign. Cause if you're doing it right, marketing will drive sales. I'm a big proponent that, when the economy is not great, like the first thing everyone cuts is marketing, right? And then everyone wonders like, why don't I have any leads? Why don't I have any sales? And it's like, well, because you're not marketing, right? So that's when you can actually lean in because all your competition is pulling back. So if you lean in and you do it right, you actually have access to a larger pool than you did before. Um, but I don't think you can't be afraid to ask questions and you can't be afraid to hold the agency accountable for what you've
Yeah.
asked to do.
Yeah. That's So important to be able to say, hey, that the accountability side, ask questions, and don't be afraid of that which you don't understand, because that's why you hired the agency to begin with, is because they do understand.
Mhm.
It's simply a communication barrier to work through. So that fantastic advice. So glad for that follow-up question, to get inside get inside further depth into that part of the conversation. Kevin, has been a fantastic interview. At the end of every episode, we go through a lightning round of about 5 or 6 questions. They're quick hitters.
Yeah.
The start off pretty easy. We'll jump in here. Coffee or tea?
Coffee is the only acceptable answer.
How about cats or dogs?
Dogs.
If you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
Some sort of vehicle, a car, like a SUV that I can drive.
Yep. How about a favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Oh, I don't know the exact quote, but the premise is, if you don't have time to do it right the first time, when will you have time to do it again?
Very good. Yes, that is a good one. How about a book that has influenced your life the most?
I really like Built to Sell from a business standpoint. Probably one of the best. It's kind of a classic, but it's a really good book about processes and getting your business organized.
Yes, very good book. And the biggest obstacle you have had to overcome, and one lesson that you have learned from it.
I think the biggest obstacle I've had to overcome is my own, say, doubt, right? The way I overcome it is I've learned to just jump in, right? So, like with the merger, I didn't know if we were going to be able to do it, but you just jump in and you get stuff done.
Absolutely. Kevin, how can our listeners collaborate with you if they want to learn more about 329 or Kevin Howe?
Yeah, the best way would be to visit our website, which is 3 spelled out. So THREE, then the number 2, the number 9.com. And everything is listed there. You can find everything that you want to know about us on that site.
Excellent. And listeners will have all of the information to connect with Kevin in the show notes or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. Kevin, thank you so much for being a part of the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast. And there are nuggets all over this episode on how the longevity of business, different decisions that come up, and why jumping in and going through them is valuable, is important, and why you shouldn't be afraid of it. Jump in, get to understanding, and enjoy being an entrepreneur and a business owner. If you found this episode valuable, let us know in the comments. If you want to learn more or hear more episodes from the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, check out this playlist located right here. And until next time.